for mounting the fridge, you'll see on this side, I've got the handle there, and I've got some tie points here. I've got 4 tie points, but we'll go around to this side to show you. There's our handle here. Obviously that's well screwed in, and because there are no other support points or any other ways to mount this, there may be something underneath, whether you put it on the slide or something like that, but what we've got here is just some small, they're not ratchet straps, I suppose you call them pull straps, so they go up through the handle, down around here and onto these, which have a spring. They're spring loaded, a couple of screws in each, and that just grab that fridge, and you can see that moves the box instead, and the box has got a bit of weight in it. If I need to remove the fridge, just a case of slackening those off, just grabbing that, and that comes undone. See the spring there, that's a fairly strong spring there as well. I just undo those 4, I leave these on the fridge, and then it just lifts out, sits wherever I need it, and when I want to pop it back in, just grab these like that, just put it back on, and then put the appropriate amount of tension on those, and we're good, she's not going anywhere. Okay, so up top we have our 120 watt solar panel. Like I said, I think we're getting about 6 amps, give or take, out of that. And I just realised she's holding a bit of water over in that corner. But that's no biggie, we have had quite a bit of rain, and that'll obviously disappear soon enough. This is our awning, spare wheel at the top. So as you can see, I'm quickly running out of space on this roof. And as far as a roof basket goes, it's not really functional anymore for storage. I can get a few little things, I suppose, up either side, small box or something like that, but I'm not throwing the big plastic boxes up here like I used to. But in theory, with the boxes and stuff that I built inside, I won't have to do that anymore. That was the whole plan. So okay, so from here I was considering putting this down inside the basket. The concerns there were that it was going to sit underneath these side rails, and it was going to be considerably lower than the tie here as well. So if that was going to be the case, it was going to get some shadows on it, and as we all know, the solar panels like to be in full sun. Whilst this is not going to be angled towards the sun at any particular time, I wanted to get it up in the clear as much as possible. By sticking it up the top here, it's pretty much got an open view of the sun. It is a little bit less protected, I suppose, than it would be, but conveniently, when I grabbed this and stuck it up here for the first time, and I was looking where I wanted to fit it, you'll see that these upright pieces that support this top bar, it was a perfect fit. From that perspective, you can see there's only the slightest gap on this side. There is a even less gap on the other side, so this is and we'll just go around to this other end, and you can see that's a good fit there as well. So when it's mounted up top here like this, it's not going to move forward or backwards, which is a good thing. It doesn't mean that I wasn't going to consider mounting it down for sideways movement, but that made it a good fit. If I was to stick it down on the middle of the cage, again, it had to sort of slide in between those. It was a pretty tight fit, and it was, again, I wanted an unrestricted view of the sun. So there we go. Underneath, we've just used these tensioners that you would see on like your shade awnings and stuff like that. There's a couple of screws going into each section here, so they just screw up into the panel themselves. This tension just goes down here and then just clips on to the bottom of the rack there. So I can obviously move that out a bit further if I need to apply different tension, but thus far it's holding tight. The only thing I probably need to do, I can obviously get up here and hand tighten these, but it hasn't moved in about a week or so that it's been fitted, which is good, but because I like to do things and make sure they're safe and they're not going to go anywhere, and we certainly don't want a solar panel flicking off the roof at speed, I am going to put some sort of a tie, small bit of wire or something through the section here, through the tensioner, and then just go down here and just wrap it around the rack, so that way this thing can't turn on its own, so it can't untension itself. And we've got 4 of those, one over in that corner, one over in that corner, another one at the front. You can see the wiring coming down there for the panel. So sorry if the video is a little bit shaky, but you can see I'm balancing myself up here on the side of the house and just leaning up against the car. But that seems to be working alright. And you can see it's a good sized storm that we've not long had, plus the rain there. But you can see the sun's out now as well, so there we go. From a wiring perspective, it's not as tight as I would like it, and certainly not as tight as it's hopefully going to be when it's done. This is just the wires coming down here. Now we've only run the positive down here, and we've got a common earth point in under here, which is at the top of the door. Give you a look there. So that's our common earth point, which is there. So that solar panel's earthed to this section here. It's also wires and stuff, so I hope I don't get any ground lips, stuff like that. Comes inside down that panel there, and sort of under the carpet along the back there. And we have the ATAS 120A on the back of the vehicle there. Now it's a pretty grotty looking earth, but I fought with this to get a decent sort of earth under this to get it to work properly. But that seems to be functional. That's earth just inside, and the coax runs down here, and it's earth not a problem. So that seems to be working well. Obviously with the rain, I'll be interested to see whether it holds any and keeps functioning, or whether it is actually indeed the rain meter that everybody suggests that it might be when it gets a bit of rain. Just have a quick wander up the front into the vehicle, dog, and here is our face from the 857. And obviously because it's not on power, we don't have the keys in, it's just running off the auxiliary battery. We can turn that on. And there we'll see that's the VK2 RNC 6 metre beacon. Now we used to have some 6 metre repeaters around here, or a 6 metre repeater around here, but it's no longer in operation. But so you can see that goes up and down with the steering wheel if need be. I can still see everything as far as the dash goes. It's reasonably operational, providing I don't stick my hand through the steering wheel while I'm trying to take a corner, which I have done. I've got to go in the outside or wait till I'm going on a straight so I can reach in and have a play with that. Anyway, we'll do a video on this setup later on. Got a dodgy mounted 808 there as well. 800, sorry, not the 808. So this does my VHF, UHF, D-Star, and can do CB as well for Australia, which is 477 meg, and this one does all bands, all modes. We're just running off the small antenna at the front. That's going to get elevated at some point back up here to the top of the vehicle, like that one there. Yeah, so it does HF and all the 270 as well. So there we go. So that's where we're at the moment. And another thing for you Delica drivers, another thing that I've done is fitted one of the just a reversing camera, which is on that back step. The one out there at the moment starting to see a bit of corrosion and stuff like that, so I got bike shoes and some other cabling here. But this is the screen, which is just a cheapy eBay special, and I've just popped the little switch down the back here. I'll flick that on, and there we go. So you can see it's a bit foggy there at the moment, but so obviously that's the dash up there, GPS, and there's our reversing camera down there. I didn't want to, at the time I couldn't be bothered running it through reversing lights and stuff like that to power it up. So I just put it on a switch because I do actually like to have it running sometimes when I'm driving, especially if I'm going bush, off-road or something like that. I do like to power it up and see what's behind me, etc. If I'm not necessarily reversing, so it's always handy to see behind me. And deli drivers, handy place to put your sunnies. Chuck up in the corner there. And so that's it. So Tight and I thank you for stopping by again. if you have any questions, comments, whatever, feel free to stick them up. Certainly open to suggestions on how I can improve the scenario over the back here. Like I said, this was a first attempt at this, work in progress. So if you've got any sort of pointers or something you'd like to add in, feel free. Again, thanks for stopping by. Catch you on the next one.